Tonight on the Night Team, honoring her memory.
Try, do some of the good she'd be doing.
How a family is remembering Tara Willenborg 11 years after her brutal death. Plus, Trump threatens new tariffs.
It's going to hurt my sales in the long run. My customers are going to pay for it.
This as Republicans try and slam through a new spending bill without Democratic support. And then, for the 52nd year, the St. Patrick's Day Parade rolled through the Highlands. Tonight, we take you to the sights and sounds. The WHAS11 Night Team starts now. It has been 11 years since a southern Indiana woman was raped and killed in her apartment just before her 18th birthday. It's our top story tonight. Thanks for joining us on the WHAS11 Night Team. I'm Jose Alonso. Just over a decade later, her family celebrates her life and legacy through community fundraising. WHAS11's Clarice Shaley shows us how Tara Willenborg is being honored.
Just everyone here to celebrate who she was and her life.
St. Luke's United Church of Christ in Jeffersonville filled with song. Celebrating the late Tara Willenborg, who loved to bake.
I think she would definitely enjoy the, us just sitting around and having, the cupcakes that she loves, even if they're not as good as hers would be.
This Monday would have been her 30th birthday, but sadly, her life was cut short. Tara was raped and killed in her Clarksville apartment in 2013, just a few days from her 18th birthday. From the WHAS11 archives, her convicted killer, Richard Hooten, confessed to the murder.
I wish I could, just take it back, I don't know how I could, she's gone.
Each year, Tara's family comes together to honor her, raising money through a silent auction benefiting her three loves, animals.
They play all the time.
The Southern Indiana Animal Rescue with puppies looking for a home.
Because when we come to events like this, people see the dogs that we have, and then even if they're not interested, they might have a friend who's interested.
River Valley Resources Adult Education, where Tara got her GED, the organization helping people get jobs.
Those wanting to advance their careers in truck driving, a lot of healthcare workers, CNA, through nursing.
And to the church that upkeeps her garden out front.
Tara's garden continues to provide a place of peace and rest. It just shows what love can build.
And that's what the church stands for, that we love people no matter what state they're in, no matter where they are in their life, they're welcome here.
Every way showing that love wins.
It definitely helps some with just knowing that there's something good that we're able to do instead of just focusing on the anger that we have.
Continuing Tara's work of spreading love, even over a decade later from the tragedy. In Jeffersonville, Clarice Shaley, WHAS11 Night Team on your side.
And through the years, Tara's family has helped raise thousands of dollars for these organizations. Hutton, now 62 years old, is still serving a life sentence plus 70 years. New tonight, LMPD is investigating a stabbing in Old Louisville that left 2 people hospitalized. Police say they responded to the incident just before 4 o'clock this evening on South Brook Street. LMPD says the victims are expected to survive. One man has been detained for questioning in connection to this crime. And 2 teens are recovering after a shooting in Shively. Shively police responded on Cheviot Drive just before 8 o'clock this evening. When officers arrived, they found 2 teens, a man and a woman suffering from gunshot wounds. Both were taken to a local hospital. Police say the man's injuries are considered life-threatening. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact Shively Police. That number is right there on your screen, 502-930-2SPD. And an overnight fire in the Russell neighborhood is being investigated by Louisville Fire. According to the department, they were dispatched to a warehouse around 3 in the morning on River Park Drive. When crews arrived, they found an unoccupied warehouse completely engulfed in flames. Louisville Fire says it took around 25 firefighters and nearly 30 minutes to bring the blaze under control. Thankfully, no injuries were reported, and the Louisville Arson Unit is investigating. Also new tonight, there's movement in Frankfurt on a bill that would require students to take a financial literacy course in order to graduate. House Bill 342 is currently in the Senate Education Committee after passing out of the House. It would require students to take one financial literacy course during their junior or senior year of high school. Today, advocates in Louisville hosted a free class for young students to say this is a step in the right direction.
Well, we kind of inspired that bill because we've been doing financial literacy for 2 years. I've been talking about it for 3 years, but now we have it down to a science because the momentum has caught on. We're in the process of opening 2 other locations because the young people, they want this.
The bill passed unanimously out of the House and just needs to make it through the Senate. If passed and signed by Governor Andy Beshear, this would go into effect for students entering the 9th grade in the 2026 school year. House Republicans are daring Democrats to vote against a spending bill that will keep the government open until September. The showdown in Congress is expected on Tuesday when Speaker Mike Johnson plans to place the partisan spending bill up for a vote. Normally, the GOP must work with Democrats to pass spending measures as they don't have enough votes to pass a bill on their own. ABC's Johnny Fernandez has the latest as Trump threatens more tariffs.
American businesses are bracing for the latest tariff threat from the White House. President Trump vowing to impose new tariffs on Canadian lumber and dairy in response to the large tax Canada puts on American dairy and lumber to protect its own industries.
250%, nobody ever talks about that. 250% tariff, which is taking advantage of our farmers. They make it impossible for us to sell lumber or dairy products into Canada.
The National Association of Home Builders say even a 25% tariff on Canadian lumber would increase the cost of building a new single-family home by up to $10,000. That comes after the president imposed 25% tariffs on all goods from Canada and Mexico that went into effect on March 4th. The president then changed direction, offering a 1-month exemption for automakers on Wednesday, followed by a 1-month delay on tariffs for other goods from Mexico and Canada on Thursday. Wall Street reacting to the uncertainty. Stocks finished the week in the red. The Dow down nearly 1,200 points since Monday's open. The S&P having its worst week since September. But the president saying the uncertainty is here to stay.
There'll always be changes and adjustments. There'll always be some modifications. I mean, if you have a wall in front of you, sometimes you have to go around the wall instead of through it.
All this as a possible government shutdown looms. House GOP leaders unveiling their stopgap funding bill on Saturday that will fund the government through the end of September. But it will be a challenge to get the bill through both chambers before the March 14th deadline. Democrats are not on board, which means House Speaker Mike Johnson will need near unanimous support. President Trump urging all Republicans in Congress to vote yes, writing on his Truth Social site, "We must remain united." Johnny Fernandez, ABC News, New York.
Trump's tariffs threats are already impacting one of Kentucky's largest businesses, the bourbon industry. Canadian stores are already pulling American whiskeys off the shelves, which means smaller bourbon dealers are feeling the brunt. Buzzard's Roost tells us the biggest impact has been long-term planning.
We're in 2 provinces of Canada now. Don't see going to more this year. Will we be able to go to more next year? I don't know. Will we be able to go to UK next year? Don't know. Will we be able to go to Japan? Don't know. So the biggest impact for us is long-term planning, where we take the company as we grow. And there's a lot of uncertainty to that today with the tariffs.
Today, the company did celebrate a new release, combining with Kentucky's original black bourbon enthusiast for a single barrel selection release. A portion of the proceeds will go to benefit the Kobe organization. In a new announcement from the CDC, the agency plans to study whether vaccines cause autism, despite numerous existing studies already showing there are no links. A spokesperson for Health and Human Services confirmed the study in a statement overnight, saying the agency plans to leave, quote, no stone unturned. The spokesperson saying in part, quote, the American people expect high-quality research and transparency, and that is what CDC is delivering. Trump, in his joint address to Congress, made reference to the rate of autism skyrocketing.
1 in 10,000 children had autism, 1 in 10,000. and now it's 1 in 36. There's something wrong. 1 in 36. Think of that. So we're going to find out what it is, and there's nobody better than Bobby and all of the people that are working with you. You have the best to figure out what is going on.
There's likely a genuine increase in autism rates in the U.S., but that could be attributed to doctors and parents getting better at identifying and diagnosing autism in children. The causes of autism are complex and still being explored. Many children with autism can be tied to genetic differences. Separately, the risk seems to be higher among children who experienced complications at birth and those born to older parents. Ukrainian officials say at least 20 people have been killed and 55 injured in recent attacks as Russia continues to strike Ukraine. Among those injured, at least 5 children. These attacks coming after the U.S. suspended Ukraine's access to satellite imagery. Russia targeted several residential buildings as well as Ukraine's biggest energy and gas companies, launching at least 145 drones and ballistic missiles from multiple locations. According to Ukraine's Air Force, these attacks come after the U.S. suspended military aid and satellite imagery, which the country says is crucial for its military to operate effectively. All eyes will be on the scheduled talks in Saudi Arabia next week between U.S. and Ukrainian negotiators. President Zelensky announcing he will be traveling to Saudi Arabia on Monday to meet with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman ahead of those talks. And here locally, the U.S. Circuit 6 Court of Appeals has denied an appeal filed by controversial former Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis. The appeal looked to challenge the Obergefell versus Hodges Supreme Court ruling that legalized same-sex marriage. Davis is remembered as the clerk who refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples in 2015. Davis argued her Christian faith and the First Amendment protected her from liability when she denied. The ruling today noted Davis previously had claims of qualified immunity denied in 2 separate court decisions and that her actions were not protected by the First Amendment. A concurring opinion from one of the justices indicated he did not support the Obergefell ruling but recognized it as law and ultimately agreed with the court's ruling.